So obviously one of the biggest releases recently is DC's finest Batman. Superman just came out as well. But as I am a Batman fan, you might be able to tell that by on the bookshelves back there. I just thought I'd do a quick video comparing in terms of the contents of this book to some of the other things that have been basically part of it as well. So specifically including the trade paperback of Batman Second Chances, obviously, which focuses on the introduction of Jason Todd. Year 2, this is just for that storyline. And then, of course, I feel like I have so many copies of this, Batman Year 1. So let's talk about the difference between, does it make sense? Because I think with any time a new graphic novel comes out, or a collection, and that's what DC Finest really is, the question is, do I have all those issues already? Specifically in trade form. If you're a person who collects the floppies, God bless you if you have all this stuff. But if you are someone that has multiple trades like I do and is wondering, what does this offer instead? Well, let's find out. So in starting with DC's finest, Batman, right? First thing I want to take note of is talking about table of contents. Okay, so this book's going to begin at Batman 401, which obviously, if you've read Batman 400, fantastic book, not needed to be collected here. It's going to go all the way to then ending at Detective 579. The last issue of Batman is 412. One thing to take note here, of course, is look at the year. So this is really talking about a snapshot in the character, which is great because I think one thing we've all been clamoring for, and this is immediately post-crisis, 86 to 87, is the fact that we're not so much focused as about artists, particular writers, but really the character at a specific period of time. And what Finest seems to be doing is giving us just that. Now, in this case, we do have two important pieces of work in this book, specifically Batman Year 1, Batman Year 2. But in general, this book is really focused for fans of the character that just want really a snapshot of what stories were going on at a particular time. Now, what I do want to call attention to is just a comparison specifically about artwork. I'll do a little bit of comparison here in terms of coloring. So you'll notice here that if we look at just in this panel, as opposed to here, just more of a hue that we see. Whereas in the finest version, that coloring really pops out, stands out more. And this edition here, by the way, this is from a recent version. You can tell by the DC logo. This is a fairly recent reprint. Now, full disclosure, one of the reasons for that is just a lot of extra pieces here. So some incredible sketch work by Mazzucchelli. In the case of Year 2, though, what we can see is that coloring-wise, not all that different. So we see a pretty noticeable similarity between the books. So if you're thinking about the difference really from a quality standpoint of the artwork, Finest basically replicates what we've seen in the trade. And this trade here in particular was one of the earlier trades that came out for Year 2. Finest really pretty much replicates the same coloring. But in Year 1, we see what I would consider probably a better representation. Now, in terms of the differences in issues included. So, in the Finest collection, we're going to go from Batman 401 to 412, Detective 568 to 579. Second Chances here actually goes 401. No, actually, I'm wrong. Now you got me having to check. We start 402, actually. So 402 all the way to 416. So it is a difference of 4 more issues. So if you are a completionist, like I am, Second Chances stands out for those issues. Now, again, you can always read those 4 remaining issues digitally if you want to, or try to track down floppies. But that is an important distinction, because I think there's been some wondering of, if I have second chances, do I pretty much overlap a lot of the finest edition? Not necessarily. So there you have it. Ultimately, I'm extremely happy for having picked this up. Yeah, I've been really waiting for DC to start giving a snapshot to the characters that we love so much. And Finest for Batman does that, certainly does for Superman. The next one I have coming in, I think, will be the Justice League, which connects the JLA and the JSA. So in terms of generations crossing over, I think that comes out November 19th, I believe. So November 12th. Nothing coming in for me for this week, but ultimately super happy with DC Finest Batman. Obviously does not cover all of which that we see in Second Chances, so I'm still going to keep that trade. The inclusion of Year One with this coloring definitely makes it stand out than what we've seen recently. Year Two, I could make the argument I could probably let go of that individual trade, because I think the Finest edition really covers that and the coloring doesn't change. Plus, the trade I have for Year Two doesn't have really any extras, but I tend to hold on to my books for the most part, so happy to hold all of it. Again, this video is for anyone that was wondering, if you have different trades of Batman during that time, you know, is it worth getting the Finest edition? And I would say yes. It is a proud member of the library, and I am very excited to jump in, revisit Batman Year One. I recently read Year Two, so I want to get back to that as well. But especially the issues that are not tied to those two major stories. Perfect way for us to just jump in. This is not about a major storyline, but it's really of, what was it like to be reading Batman post-Crisis? And why is it that Jason Todd, even now, always sparks some controversy and some interesting conversations about his role in the Batman storyline? Thanks for watching.